A very good evening to you on this night of the date of 11th March, the year 2021, and have a good evening from the capital city of Kenya. It is another opportunity that we gather here to discuss what is happening in the political realm at the Kenyan environment. And tonight we look into the storm at the Handshake. In the year 2018, that is the date of the 9th of March, President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga shook hands at the Harambee House headquarters, that is the house that houses the office of the president. And 3 years later, things are coming up. And tonight, we are joined by Caroline Deritu, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and also Mr. Simeon Omoyo Maranga, who is the president of Vijana Economic Front. My name is Cornelius Omuse, and I welcome you in this conversation, which you can also participate in our SMS number 22167, and our YouTube channel is KAK TV Kenya, Facebook is KAK TV Kenya. Keep it here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Powerbrief tonight. It's been a while, my guy. How have you been?
Very well, maybe you?
I'm fine.
It's been a nice time.
Good to see you.
We had a new year. Happy International Women Month. At least we have one lady here.
Yeah.
I didn't carry my flower. I think I left it.
Apologize.
Hope they'll reciprocate when it comes to men.
I think we need to create our Men's Month. And I want to declare it in June. That June would be the Men's Month. June 11th.
Yeah.
Men Month Day.
Yes. Do you think we shall get support from them the way they've gotten
the
support?
The tragedy is we'll only receive socks. And I mean, I don't know, for how long are you? Maybe she can tell us if they would say something.
Many thanks, Omoyo Maranga, Caroline Deritu, your first time on Powerbrief show. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
And you can take maybe a few seconds to say something that you wish to tell us and to tell the whole world.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we shall endeavor to do whatever my dear brother here is suggesting. I think it will be a very happy day for even the rest of the Kenyan men and men everywhere if such a day were to be declared public. Yeah, so I'm excited about being here, Cornelius.
Yes.
And thank you for inviting us. Yes.
Thank you very much, Caroline. And we go straight into something that has been happening, especially on the course of this week. And I'm glad we have one person who has been at the center of this discussion. When the week began, we saw some funny statements in the social media, which we didn't actually, first we thought it was just some sort of illegitimate news, but it came out that it was true. That is students starving at the universities, and the case study here at Moi University. And I've seen you, Maranga, moving around Kenya trying to do fundraising to save some of these students. And before Caroline comes in, I wish really to establish from you the background of this issue. Why are the students starving?
First, I need to introduce myself. My name is Omoyo Maranga, the President Vijana Economic Front. A front that focuses on the issues of youth in this country. And the Dean of Students in Moi University last week admitted, after long dismissing that comrades were not starving, admitted in his own letter that indeed comrades were starving. And VF moved into action and actually established that that was the state and condition of the universities, not only in Moi University, which comes from an agricultural area, but also in TUM University, that is the Technical University of Mombasa, in Murang'a University, in Multimedia University, in Nairobi University. Comrades everywhere are suffering. Actually, comrades are starving. Now, VF went ahead and we began a lobby that save a starving comrade. And so far we have fed like 200. But remember, that is for a day. Like if a comrade is starving, we only are giving you a plate to make you survive another 2 or 3 days. And that thing is gathering pace. And like right now, we even have a lobby, some CBO that has joined in, called the Ray of Hope, that is partnering with Vijana Economic Front to see if we can be able to save starving comrades. And you see, comrades are feeling that they have been abandoned. The CS Magoha I don't know, wherever he's sitting, when you hear that your own children, comrades, are starving. Now, once when I dealt with one case of a lady, now if she's starving, tell me if she has parts. If she is starving, tell me about her hygiene. The comrades of this country right now are in at a
Thank you,
crossroad.
Mr. President. And as we began that discussion, there is something that I posed to you, a question. Have you established the causes behind this starvation? Is it the COVID-19 issue, or the reduction or the unavailability of the help funds? Because Babu, we know that is an MP for Embakasi East, came up with some communication. Today I saw him meeting Cabinet Secretary for Finance, that is Ukur Yatan, and they talked of the money has been released. What is the bottom line of this problem?
The problem is multifaceted. And it's a tragedy that in this country that a Minister of Treasury has to be approached. It's like approaching your mother in the evening, that mom, please serve me supper. It's incorrigible. It's inanity in its highest form. Of course, we must agree that COVID-19 has caused a lot of problems in families, a lot of challenges. Men who used to feed their children and their entire family to pay fees are no longer having money. And the issue of curfew, curfew has cut a lot of an economy. Kenya had already gone in most towns in this country a 24-hour economy. Right now, you have to go home, fearing the invisible COVID. That maybe actually now curfew is no longer helping us to deal with COVID, but it's now like a government strategy to reduce crime, because they know if we open right now, crime will go high because people don't have money. Comrades who are receiving help are not receiving help. The reason the government can't even raise taxes enough to pay comrades, and help is like a comrade's salary. The help is not coming. The one that is coming, supposed to come, is very small, that you cannot even buy, a pair of a new shirt. And now that leaves comrades stressed. Comrades are supposed to join classes on Zoom, but they have no bundles, because you have the choice of buying a chapati in the mess or buying bundles. And this is why we are asking as Vijana Economic Front, even corporates like Safaricom, can you help even comrades during this pandemic, honestly?
Thank you. Now, Mr. Maranga, I'll come back to you. Madam Deritu, from where you sit, I don't know whether you've come across these sad news that began as a joke. Myself, I used to see it here and there before it exploded. Have you come across this information that students at the institutions of higher learning are starving and even lacking the basics?
Actually, when we first got wind of this news, it sounded like propaganda, given the circumstances that have been going on. However, when you see now university students in the streets rampaging and, paralyzing transport and all that, you come to understand that it is real. It is real. Whatever is happening is real. From what I understand, even for my days back in the university, when you talk about the help, really for a student, that goes a very long way towards the assistance in their welfare, especially more so when they are in these learning institutions. So when you see that the money is just to be dispersed by the current administration to these students, the first question that we'll probably ask is, where is this money? It's money that had been provided for, and there's money there pending, but because these applications, once a student makes an application for help, the application has already been approved and the money is lying somewhere to be dispersed to these students. So if a student came out of home or wherever they are coming from, and they are accommodated into a new university, and the first thing they feel that they can be able to maybe establish or probably get on with their affairs during this time is by using the little money that has been approved and is supposed to be dispersed by help. Then it just becomes very unfortunate when that student does not get that money. Probably it's the only money or even the only financial assistance that student has.
It is the only one.
Yes.
Now, as we wind up that discussion, because it is a discussion meant for another day, we shall converge here and try to look for the solutions and who is likely to offer solutions into this. Beginning from Mr. Omoyo Maranga. In summary, the short-term and the long-term plans, because what you're doing under your organization is short-term, because if you feed me for 3 days,
it's just
and I have another 90-something days in campus for the semester, then, but now, the long-term.
Yes, I admit,
is it help to be increased?
I admit that Vijana Economic Front is not the giant government that is going to feed comrades. But the little we are doing, this little philanthropy, is actually saving a life that a comrade may survive 3 more days. Perchance they'll get something. I want to read for you a meme that really touched me. This is a meme. It began as a meme that Mama Wamboga aki nikatie mboga ya 5 na ukate na vijiti. It looks like, it's a joke. Another one is saying that kuna avocado ya 10 na ati mama kajibu ati kuna ile imeoza. Ati nikatie hiyo part imeoza. And give me at 5 shillings. These memes, Cornelius, let me tell you. Society's upheavals begin this way. It begins as a joke, but I can tell you this is the true state of comrades. And now the solution to this is simple. The government should prioritize its people. Comrades cannot starve. When you're seeing your government doing a multi-billion dam, a multi-billion bridge, a multi-billion road, and you are starving. You're supposed to go to the library, you're supposed to go and, this country, the same government waits for you so that you finish, so that you come and, help it. You pay tax. You cannot sit there and starve. And comrades must not go to the street for them to be fed. As I gave you the allegory, you cannot go and ask your mother for supper at supper time. We're asking CS Magoa, come in. Governments have been helping the other students world over during COVID. We are not any different. Any other program can be put on hold. But let us have our children, both from primary school, secondary school, universities, and other tertiary institutions, in a stable state of mind.
Thank you, Mr. Maranga. Wakili, on this issue that Mr. Maranga has raised concerning the priorities. Yes, he is speaking on behalf of the comrades to be given food and some of these urgent things. You can walk without clothes, but in the stomach, you must have something. You can lack shelter, like you can get in your culvert, then you can sleep. Are you in agreement with Mr. Maranga that some of these ambitious projects that are eating into the government pockets be put on hold to solve these urgent matters? Because as he's fighting for the comrades, there's another constituency of people who are suffering elsewhere. It could be the people with the disabilities. It could be those people, close to 1 million people who lost their jobs during this pandemic. It could be a number of people all over. So as this one is solved, yani unazima hii moto na nyingine inawakia huko. Do you agree that some of these ambitious projects and other things that are not urgent, which to him he has talked of luxury or development, to be put on hold at this time?
Well, Cornelius, I think in every democracy, it has always been said that you should have leaders who have visions. Yes, and right now what you are seeing are these grand visions from these leaders. As much as it's good to have these visions, I think what we should be discussing are the real issues on the ground. What is affecting the youth? What is affecting the minority communities or the communities that have been marginalized? So if I may comment on this issue, and I'm also in view of health, and I also touch on the matter of the BBI, if you may allow me.
Yeah.
There are promises which have been made to the youth. And these are visions, as I'm stating, these are visions. There's already that proposal that the university students, once you take up these help loans, the grace period which was once there, which was for 2 years, shall not be extended to 4 years, right? So that's one of the things that is going to be incorporated in this BBI. But now go back to what is happening on the ground. Are these youth really getting what they asked for in the first place? Yes, you've given them this promise that, look, if you vote for this document and approve it, you, on the other hand, in return, this is what you're going to do for you. But in actual sense, yes, in actual sense, have you done what that youth really require so that they can, be able to develop themselves and be able to also reach their highest potential if be. So the fact that we are seeing now that even the loans which are supposed to be handed over to this youth have not yet reached the youth, or rather the university students, it also brings in another discussion to the table. We are talking on about this on one side, but on the other hand, how are we implementing what is already there? How are we dealing with this? So Cornelius, I think those are the subjects of discussions when, as much as we are discussing even with these grand visions or with these agendas that are already in place and continuing to be in place. It's something that is very important, and those are the things that you should be prioritizing that now, other than focusing on these agendas.
Many thanks, yes. Caroline, on that. Now, that one takes us to another issue of an event that is taking place until now at the National Assembly. That is a public participation on the course of the day. During the day, we saw Honorable Waweru and also Junet Mohammed, Priscilla Nyokabi was there. We also had Professor Ben Sihanya, who are actually trying to explain what some of these contentious issues in the BBI report. And there have been these discussions here and there. I'm glad Wakili is here to help us understand this from a legal understanding. There is this rumor moving around that there are plans to make this report not to proceed beyond Parliament, that these changes that have been proposed in this report can only be actually done through Parliament, then they are put into law. I don't know what you understand from your end. All of them or some of them? Because what I understand is that there are those things that must be taken to the people. Yes.
When you look at essentially what you are talking about now is the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020. So what's the reforms which are supposed to take place? When you look at the Constitution, what articles of the Constitution or what aspects of the Constitution are they touching upon? And when you're talking about the a referendum, something that is supposed to amend the Constitution, the Constitution is clear that the articles which are supposed to govern us are Article 256, 257, and 258 of the Constitution. So most of these articles, or rather these aspects that are being brought about by the BBI, they are things that they have to go to the referendum. So let people not be lied to, that the Constitution can be amended through Parliament, and more so the articles that you are talking about and the provisions that are likely to be amended in this current Constitution. So right now, today, as the public participation is taking place in the Senate, we are seeing a lot of groups coming out and saying, maybe this is what you feel comfortable with, this is what we do not feel comfortable with. But what I have realized from whatever is being brought about in the Senate, it's taking a forum whereby it seems like it's a multi-choice, You say this is not okay with me, this is okay with me. But what is happening now is not a vote about whether you're okay with A and not okay with B. It's whether are you okay with the
document in its entirety.
Yes, so it's either a yes or no, and then we will have to move to the next stage.
Mr. Maranga, there is something here about the outlook of the BBI and the procedure that is going to follow. The issue of the multiple choice and this one that you decide yes or no to the entire document has been here. The one of the multiple choice and unasema hii ya president sawa, hii no, like that. Okay, there are those examples of countries which actually applied that and they either made the changes or they didn't make. Here in Kenya we have such a scenario, and the Deputy President William Ruto has been very particular that we can do this here, tick ingine unaweka no. Raila said no. It is either it is yes the whole document or no to the whole document. What is your thought on this?
First, my view is BBI is a political process. It's not necessarily about what is good and what is bad. Even he that is saying let us have a multiple choice, there is something that is avoiding. That if we do, a general referendum, to be hurting to them. And then he that is saying we must have it as it is, there is a fulfillment that they want to achieve at the end of the day. But I want to ask my fellow people, Kenyans that are looking at this charade as it's unfolding. In 2007 and 8 and 9, you were buying one packet of unga at around 60 shillings or 65. Right now, you're buying it double that. Now let me ask you, is BBI going to add Cornelius to your something to reduce that unga price? Is it? Is it going to reduce the price of sugar that now Kenyans have decided to health reform, not because they want but because they can't afford sugar? Is BBI solving the issue of fuel prices? Because this leads to the other, the expensive things in the country. You see, what is happening with BBI, whether we have a multiple choice or we have, the general, let us have the entire, the way it is, the way it was designed and vote on it, is actually immaterial. What we need to discuss as Kenyans right now is who shall we elect? If there are good things in BBI, I don't say there are not. If we elect these people, if this BBI passes, who is that leader that is going to solve the unending unemployment crisis in this country? Who is it that will stop comrades from starving? If we are not going to have, a person, choose somebody that is going to do this, even if we have the Queen of England, Her Majesty, as our leader, and we have not changed the type of grassroots leaders, the type of National Assembly leaders, then we will go back to where we have been. And my call to Kenyans is this BBI handshake politics, of course, that has gone on now for almost 2 years, is something, it has given us some breathing space to think on who is it that is talking about my issue of unga, my issue of fuel, my issue of transport every day. When as a man you are giving your wife 100, saizi unapea bibi yako 100, bibi hajui anunue unga, hajui anunue sabuni, hajui anunue sukari. It's a crisis, and that is what you have worked for the day. Now the women have to be creative on today we eat, we balance here and there. We need to have a president or a regime, both at the National Assembly and our county assemblies, of leaders who think about a Kenyan having an extra shilling in their pocket, a Kenyan being used, their skilled labor being used.
Thank you, Mr. Maranga. Wakili, on what Mr. Maranga has spoken about the leadership, indeed it is true that samaki huanzia kuoza kichwani. And in most instances, when anything goes wrong, even in your house, they usually look at the head of the house. But another question that I would wish to pose to you, as we cry about the political leaders, their misdeeds, how irresponsible they are and everything, don't you think that a Kenyan citizen, here it is me, you, and also Mr. Maranga at this level, don't you think we are accomplices to these things that these politicians have been doing? Haven't we been giving them a ground to perpetuate whatever we lament every day, every morning and every evening?
We are responsible. That one you have to admit. I think in the first place, you have to ask yourself who gave these leaders the positions that they are currently, sitting, or even those positions that they are currently occupying. It's us. And the Constitution is very clear, the supremacy of the Constitution, or rather we are the ones who donate our powers or delegate our powers to the leaders who are supposed to steer us forward. Now, I've seen, even during the campaigns, these leaders will most likely talk about servant leadership. But what does that mean? Do they even understand what servant leadership is? How am I a kawaida mwananchi coming to your office? I can't even access you to come and deal with the real issues which I'm dealing with back in the village, and yet you're saying you're my servant. But technically it all starts with us, because if we have really promoted this environment whereby you have to give me something for something, I think even corruption has been something that has really affected, there's no citizen or even Kenyan citizen who can say that corruption does not affect them, right? So when you hear about the country bleeding, 2 billion shillings every day, and the president come out clearly, admits that in live television or to the nation, it dwells on you. It's a real problem and a real issue that needs to be tackled from the grassroots. It's not just about these leaders, it's also about us.
So it's a societal thing that all of us have to look over our shoulders and say that here I have to play my part.
True.
Many thanks. We go for a quick commercial break. As we come back, we shall now be landing into the hot debate tonight about the storm in the handshake. We are going to do a review of the 3 years Kenya being led under the handshake between the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta. On the show, we are having Mr. Simeon Maranga and Advocate Caroline Nderitu, who are helping us to break down these issues that has greater impact to your life. Do not go far.
Did you know that Eden Health and Immune Booster is suitable for the whole family? Here are testimonials from beneficiaries of Eden.
This is the drug that has been able to change my child. After having suffered for almost 3 to 4 years without even being able to get the answer.
Eden ni dawa na imesaidia mtoto wangu kwa autism.
Nobody knows about lupus. But let me say, when I took Eden is the time I realized my body has changed.
We decided as a family to give it a trial. It has worked for us. We are very happy.
This medicine have prolonged the life of our mother.
Kwa sababu hata mwenye kutengeneza hizo ndawa, labda sijui kama alikuwa akijua kitu gani anafanya. Labda ni Mungu alimtuma.
Call us on 0721 755 755 or 0707 180 266 to make your orders and inquiries.
What is praise and worship?
Worship from a Hebrew word means to bow down.
The whole team need to be dedicated to the Spirit of the Lord, not practicing as separate entities.
Hallelujah, nitasifu kufika mbinguni. Oh, sana nitaingia kwa shangwe, nitaingia lango lake na sifa moyoni, nitaingia kwa shangwe kuu.
Welcome back, and many thanks for keeping it here on CAC TV. That is a Powerbrief, and we are looking into the handshake storm. Let's look at some of the developments that took place in Kenya last week, especially from the side of the former Prime Minister. Some of the handlers came out to actually show whatever is happening within the corridors of power. Our director plays the clip.
As Uhuru and Raila BBI, there's a cabal, and I'm saying this without a fear of contradiction. There's a cabal inside government who are busy trying to chart the way how Kenya will be ruled in 2022.
They are sentiments that seem to have ignited a disquiet within the corridors of the Orange House.
Raila Odinga does not need the handshake, does not need BBI to ascend to the presidency, because the presidency remains in BBI or no BBI.
Rais Uhuru, mimi ndiye nilikuwa adui wako number 2 after baba hapa nchini. Wewe nataka unieleze leo kwa ukweli, utadanganya baba ama haumdanganyi? Uhuru aliniambia akatumia lugha ya Kiislamu, wallahi bilahi.
However,
those are some of the statements that is from Orengo, Otienda Amolo, and we also have the MP from Embakasi East, that is Babu Owino. They are actually trying to talk about, Orengo is talking of a cabal in government who are trying to plan on what is going to happen in 2022. This is the succession politics. And Babu here is also talking of that he talked to the president, asking him, will you betray Baba? And he says that the president vowed that he won't do that. Now, first of all, before we go into these statements of these politicians, we have to do a stock taking. And let's look at some of these merits that have come as a result of the handshake since the year 2018. In summary, from where you sit, and also we come to Caroline.
The benefits of the handshake?
The merits. What do you think the proponents of this issue of the handshake talk of something that has stabilized Kenya, has helped Kenya to move from one point to
the only thing that has happened is that there is no tear gas. That's the only advantage of the I don't know if it's an advantage. Perhaps when we had tear gas, things were moving better. That's the only thing that has happened. That tear gas has been moved from the street. And the way you asked that there's a storm in the handshake, there has always been a storm.
We shall get there. We are getting there briefly.
Was always a storm.
We just want to look at the merits that the handshake has
I think for me it's the issue that there are no demos and there's a little bit of a tranquil environment. There's some peace, a little bit of peace, going into even sections of the country where if you are perceived a person of this political persuasion, you would not go there comfortably. But right now, that was disquieted, albeit for a moment. Yeah, I think that's
Thank you. And Ritu, what do you think, or ni nini umeona tangu how viongozi wakishikana mikono? What have you really enjoyed? And you've also seen a number of people enjoying and confessing that indeed we have these goodies from the handshake. To the citizens especially.
I'll say the business atmosphere. The business atmosphere, the kindness has been there. Yeah, we experienced a lot of terrorization of the business entrepreneurs, or even people working within the city, or even in some of these towns, when there was a lot of disparity between these two leaders. So I think for everyone to speak has noticed that there has been that calmness, and if it weren't maybe for COVID and the implications of what it has done for us, how it has affected the businesses in the past 1 year, I think would have been far. The businesses would have flourished, or even the atmosphere for creating more job opportunities with investors and also people who are coming into Kenya to look for business opportunities would have been better if the atmosphere is retained as it is.
Thank you. Now they say that hakuna zuri lisilokuwa na ubaya. There are people, when some things have been happening, you remember the COVID, is it billionaires or billionaires, and a number of scandals that have been witnessed, including what you're just talking about, hii maneno ya comrades kumie. Wanasema nothing lacks demerits. There are some of things, najua ukitembea kwa street unasema kama ingekuwa hii na hii maneno handshake, we could be having solutions. What are some of these things that you think handshake has brought negativity in the society on matters governance?
I think right now, if there was no handshake, we would have known the names of COVID billionaires by name and by where they come from and whom they work with. But because
which means you're clean. Are you also part of them?
I'm clean. I'm not a COVID millionaire. Perhaps if I was, I give 4 times what I've taken from that. I've not even received a free mask. Yeah, so I cannot be a COVID millionaire. Another, what I would say is that there is no check and balances in government. When you see the Honorable Junaid Mohammed in the first days of the handshake, you know, endorsing Honorable Duale, you get worried. When you see now Kimunya and Junaid, the majority whip, are speaking the same voice, you know, it worries you. When there are more taxes, they vote together in one basket. Nobody is talking to the common mwananchi. I think this is one thing that we have lacked, an alternative, you know, opposing voice. And those that have tried to be alternative voices cannot even voice themselves. I think I don't know, they are using opposition sign language. I really don't understand.
But again, someone is asking themselves down there that yes, they joined government and things are not happening as they used to happen. But they're asking, what is Mr. President's role? Can't you also stand up and voice for these things, even do investigations and a number of things?
Yeah, you know, the president has said so many times that, for example, that the people who were supposed to do a lifestyle audit in his regime, in the entire civil service, we haven't seen that done. And until we move from mere speech and rhetoric into action and seizing of illegal wealth from people, we actually don't want them to be jailed. It's not a must that they be jailed. We want that wealth transferred from individuals to the state, from individuals to the government, such that, my friend, when we have lost, let's say, 800 billion in a financial year, that is an equivalent to all roads that are going to be built by Kenya this year. The entire over 3,000 kilometers of road. Now, if that is going to very few families in our country, and most of that money is in offshore accounts, it's not moving in the economy. And if it's not in offshore accounts, it's in boxes stacked in people's houses, then how are we going to move on as a country? And this is where the presidency, if President Uhuru Kenyatta has to leave us a legacy. Leave us a legacy of that you have regained stolen wealth of over 1 trillion and tell us Kenyans, yes, I didn't deliver the laptop, yes, I didn't deliver the electric train, yes, I didn't deliver, you know, the promise, the 1 million jobs I had promised, but here I have brought you back 1 trillion shillings and I'm handing over to the new regime. That is what, you know, Kenyans will live to remember him. But now, if as things are going by, when even we the youth are feeling left out by the government, we are not involved in any policy making, even if it involves or affects us, then you find that President Uhuru Kenyatta is likely to be remembered for less, if at all there is anything. And his advisors, he either sack some of these advisors, because like now, comrades starving, and you have an advisor for education. What does he have to do?
Thank you. Now, Caroline, still on stock taking, having said the merits and also he has mentioned his demerits, but ukikaa sometimes and you weigh the two, and you say that when we have it and when we didn't have it, where do you think the handshake has brought us? Has it brought more trouble, or it has come, even though not 100%, but it has contributed a significant percentage of offering solutions to the country?
Well, let me say this, Cornelius. Since that handshake in 2018, March 2018, I'll say that a lot has happened, and we have seen transformations, one transformation after another. So it's in its own way. The handshake also has its downsides. So when you're talking about the demerits of whatever that these leaders are trying to bring, or rather unify us in their gestures, or whether it's them promoting the handshake, you'll find that the majority, or rather the opposition leader, there was need for that. The government needs to be checked, right? You don't want to have a government or even an administration where everyone are in agreement in everything. I am yet to come across such a situation whereby, even when the tower was being built, to heaven, and people wanted to get knowledge, of what lied beyond the heavens. There came an instance whereby, you brought in some discord, so that people, so other things are exactly. So we need a strong opposition leader, and we need people who are there to at least check whatever the government is doing. We don't want to talk about fighting corruption, and yet the people who are fighting corruptions are the same people who are aiding or propelling the corruption. So you do not send. Yes, sometimes you say you send a thief to catch a thief, but in most cases you'll find that they'll come in together, join hands, and maybe they'll go and steal something bigger. So even now, as we have these commissions which are investigating these corruption crimes, the people are not coming out clearly, or even the people who are being interrogated. You saw is it yesterday or when this lady, when she was being questioned, and she's denying, she doesn't know who a signatory of a bank account is, and yet she's a sole director in that company. So and we have seen others. NYS was there. So there's various instances of corruption where nothing has been done so far. So I think we're just wasting taxpayers' money in having these various commissions investigating corruption. It's important, and I understand it's also important for the president that he fights corruption, because I think he doesn't want to leave a legacy whereby his administration was the most corrupt administration as so far seen within the country.
Thank you. Now, let's go back to Orengo sentiments, Otienda Amolo's sentiments, and Babu Owino's sentiments. If you take your time to listen to President Uhuru Kenyatta and also the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, they have been talking of the handshake was not anything to do with the succession politics of the year 2022. But from Babu's sentiments and also from Otienda Amolo's sentiments, they are projecting that. And this handshake thing, there are those who views it as a 2022 journey, but the owners of it are talking of it's all about bringing Kenyans together. Do you think that from what Orengo was saying, it is a deal gone sour?
Cornelius, your Powerbrief topic today is the handshake storm. And I can say the handshake has always been a storm from that morning at 10 a.m. under the steps of Harambee House. And it's only that it's right now is at high tide. It's a storm and it's at its highest tide. And now the people are questioning, like, do we have a strong wall, a strong barrier that will prevent this storm from hitting the shores and causing a tsunami, or the walls are strong enough? So what you are hearing from that there's cabals in government is actually that wall. The wall is testing itself. It is simulating that during high tide, what will be the effect of this storm? What will be the effect of this wave? Now, if the simulation goes well, and it seems that this wall will be able to resist the tidal wave that is coming, then they will, construct it and, rivet it stronger and stronger as a fortress against it. If it becomes weak, then they will reconsider it and perhaps withdraw it, allow the water to flow. But what the Honorable Orengo is raising is very important. They have discovered that the person or the people that have pushed the deputy president out of government also want to push government. The deputy president is almost a pseudo deputy president because he does not have those powers. You saw the other day saying that his powers have been given to other officials in government. They have discovered that these are the same people that are putting the oil between Baba's hand and Uhuru's hand, and now the hand is starting to slide. We had a very strong grip initially, but right now we are feeling that there's no friction.
There's a lubricant.
And they want to oil it until now the lubricant is so slidey and grimy that it can no longer hold no matter how. So when that wave will come at high tide, and probably one will try to clutch at the other, then you'll find that it will slide. And so what Orengo is trying to say is we are resisting this lubricant. We want super glue. Give us the super glue, and the super glue is send these individuals. They could be individuals in government or an individual in government. Send him away. Let us put our own guy who is the super glue, who will hold this handshake stronger. Because they are saying that the BBI, money that like kind of another secretariat, apart from the one that it was instituted by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, that is conducting this process. And so the storm is at high tide, as I can tell you, and it is not necessarily at high tide because it's real, but it's a simulation of what will happen during the real high tide.
There is something here that brings worries to a lot of people, Caroline. It has come from him as a panelist tonight. It has come even from powerful people in the country, like our number 2 talking of their people. Now, no sooner had the storm calmed before another group again led by Orengo coming out to talk of those powers. Caroline, don't you think these present some sort of a picture of incapacity from the head of state, that there are those powers that are more stronger than him?
You've had the mention of the word deep state, maybe this year or towards the end of last year. So the fact that these leaders have all at all time been talking about this deep state. These are men or women out there whom we do not know their faces, but there are allegations that perhaps even a civil servant would be have that power or that influence to, as much as influence the president to leave his handshake partner and to forge another coalition with someone else in view of leaving his legacy or in view of the succession debates. So it is not something that is new. So both sides of the divide will at most time talk about it.
Thank you. Now let's go into politics.
The question you have asked is important. I wanted to chip in and say something. That is the president of Kenya weak? He is not. The president of Kenya is not weak. What he is doing is a political experiment, trying to release, construct a small barrier and see if the coming wave, the coming tsunami will be strong enough to destroy it, or they need to rivet it and buffer it. And so, because they can never be a junior who would do what his boss is not supporting. But you see, the question is, in the end, who will be fooled is what we are keen to see. But not only the president, even the former prime minister, he knows if at all this thing was supposed to happen, he knew it. And so it's not that he's handicapped in terms of that he has been reached a place where he has to be put on a crucifix. No, he will come out perhaps stronger than before.
Let's now put on, as we come to the end, our time is actually giving us back, but there are two things here that we need to establish. A scenario where the Raila group feels betrayed, or they finally get betrayed as it fears that Orengo is alleging there. The Ruto group also feels, or okay, already they talk of they have been betrayed. What kind of a country shall we have at the end of it all?
Politics.
In such a situation, because Handshake is here. Everyone is confessing that Handshake is still intact, but I've heard from you that there is a grease or some lubricant. The hands are going apart. At the same time, if Raila and his company goes the other side, Ruto and his company goes the other side, where shall we be going?
The handshake.
After 3 years of the handshake.
The handshake is a marriage. Is a courtship. A courtship where you look at your bride to be. Is she a good bride? Is she having the qualities that you want? And if midway you find that in the courtship she is not what you thought she is, then in the unlikely event you are likely to leave that courtship and have another marriage. And what is befalling probably Orengo, they are feeling they are going to be fallen is going to befall them, is what DP Ruto has faced, especially the last 3 years. But I'm sure they knew this was going to happen. This is probably a script that everyone is trying to, in the chessboard, throw his own horse and queen to see who will take the kingship. But what I believe is politics of betrayal is not new in our country, and this is not going to be the first season. Probably this is episode 8 or 9, and those that will be betrayed, perhaps they may form an alliance together, or maybe not. And there's a lot to be unfortunate. Maybe actually there's no betrayal in the first place, because there has never been a time Raila is at an advantaged position than the way he is right now. He can work with whoever he is within the handshake or the one who is outside the handshake. So it remains to be seen what will happen.
Thank you, Maranga. Before I take some of the comments that have just come here, I would like to know from Caroline, this issue of state-sponsored presidential candidates. In summary, many people seem to be saying that mwenye atakuwa supported by the state, huyo ndiye atakuwa president. Do you think it holds water looking at our past encounters in elections? Does it have a significant contribution or determination when it comes to who becomes the president of the country?
It's important. It really has an effect or a bearing on whoever takes presidency, but I wouldn't put it from that. I wouldn't quite view it from that angle. It's about the political parties. Whoever is being backed by whatever political party, and has the political parties are more popular within whatever county. So if we have a political party and Uhuru stands for the Jubilee political party, which has now perhaps taken two divides. If that is a political party which is most popular with the people, and what the political party stands for, that is what will delve, or rather that will push the next president into that seat.
Thank you. Now our parting shot, before I take the comments, you will say whatever you want to say in the parting shot because our time is up. Do you think, or what is your opinion, should the handshake continue, or it's time to call it quits alafu watu wajipange? In summary, and also in summary as we wind up.
Let me say this: we need a break, and change it. Some change is as good as rest. So I think we have been rushing this thing. You've seen how even the public participation and the debates in most of these forums have taken form. So I think we need to go back, retreat, have some time to rest and really think about what the BBI is about. Because I am certain, up to now, even now, there are people out there who do not understand what this document is about.
Time for restart. Many things. In summary, my brother,
handshake.
Do you join Caroline to say hiki tuwacha twende kwanza park and try to reflect?
Handshake or no handshake, this country will have to continue and we'll have to endure with the political problems that we have. And one point that I wanted to add is that there is no person who is going to be brought from a jacuzzi or a sauna somewhere and imposed on the people of this country as the president. The vote of a Kenyan citizen matters, and that is the vote that will choose the president of Kenya. Deep state is a propaganda. It is not something that exists. It's a mirage that has been made to reflect that it is a big, pyramid that nobody can assail. So that there is low turnout, there is anxiety, there is, inside rebellion, that people give up before they cast the vote. I want to tell my fellow Kenyans, wherever you are, vijana popote ulipo, kama wewe ni demo, uko TikTok, uko Facebook, uko wherever, hii Kenya tutaikomboa through the ballot. Get out, get your voting card, get your ID and cast the vote. From there, we will choose our leaders.
Mr. Maranga and Caroline, just to look at some of the comments. Edgar Otwane, he says, watching live from Githurai. He is actually complimenting the good work that's being done here. Geoffrey Kimathi says, watching from Laikipia, sometimes the government doesn't give the first priorities on issues that are affecting people. They're focused on their own. Gekaya Mayaka, on matters handshake, we have more division, only that we don't have mobilizers who can successfully champion demonstration against the handshake. BBI is a political tool and not a reconciling factor. Kipsang Arab Kichwen, the handshake has no meaning to us, the common Kenyans. Its aim is to extend the term for Uhuru to rule Kenya, and here Raila anachezwa. Gekara Moyaka anasema kazi nzuri to CAP TV. That brings us to the end of our discussion tonight, where we've had a gentleman, a credible one, and also a credible lady, that is Caroline Deritu and Mr. Omoyo Maranga, who have led us through this discussion. We appreciate your participation and also your time on Powerbrief. From me, Cornelius Omuse, I still maintain that let the mantra of peace, love and unity always guide us as Kenyans. Till next Thursday, God willing, I wish you a very good night.